Hello again, everybody on YouTube, women and men and children of all ages. Thanks for joining me on this edition of The Real World Prepper. Today we are going to continue on another edition of Prepping Mistakes and How to Avoid Them, Volume 3. Here we go. All right, guys and gals, we're going to jump right back into this thing. First thing I want to say is if you guys saw or for those of you who did see the live stream last night, I thought that was great. I hope you guys did too. Your comments were awesome and encouraging. We did a live stream, if you're not aware, on Zombie Farmer's channel. You can go to his channel and see that live stream. You know, if you didn't get to watch it already, it's recorded as a video there, so you can see it. We're planning another live stream that will be on Kansas Prepper's channel coming up. Tentatively, the date will be the 12th of April, but not quite positive yet. We'll let you know, so don't consider that official. Wait for the announcement. Anyway, we'll go from there. So, prepping mistakes and how to avoid them. We covered, and this is volume 3. So we covered in volume 1 through 6. We covered 7 through 12 in volume 2. So volume 3, we're going to start at 13 and see how far we get. So, without further ado, number 13, forgetting that there is life beyond prepping. Sounds simple enough, right? Of all the prepper mistakes, this is probably one of the most difficult to overcome. For many people, the call of prepping becomes a full-time job, or it can. You know, living and breathing preparedness becomes the norm, disrupting work, family activities, personal quiet time that you need to sort of recharge your own batteries. All these things can be affected if you're living and breathing. You know, I always say, don't be consumed by prepping. If you're going to be consumed by anything, be consumed by the love of our Creator. You know, some people even lose sleep over thinking about preparedness and preparedness items and things like that, and the job of it. It can be daunting. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You know, but don't forget that there is a life beyond prepping. That's number 13. You know, hopefully this won't happen to you. I can tell you that if you're a serious prepper, it probably has happened to you before and may happen again, if only temporarily, where you sort of get, you know, over the top. I got a buddy who recently told me, he's like, man, I had to actually just back off and just stand back for a minute, because he had gotten himself so involved, you know, that he realized he was kind of starting to, you know, focus solely on prepping and you know, forgetting to live his life and enjoy his life. Remember that regardless of what you think about the future, you still have one. You have a precious life to live. You have a future at this point. You can't stop the clock of time, you know, so unless you feel imminent danger, continue to live your life as normally and as joyfully as possible. All right? Let's be happy and have joy in our lives. Let's attend family gatherings, and let's enjoy our family and take vacations and, you know, do fun stuff, you know, and enjoy your life. Don't be a worried, you know, a worry wart the whole time about everything. Yes, there is a time to worry, there is a time to plan, there is a time to prepare, and these things should always be on the forefront of our mind, but, you know, don't let it eat you up, okay? So, number 14, not doing enough. Or, subtitled, creating a 3-day kit and then ignoring the long term. So, in number 14, we're talking about, you know, all right, putting together a 3-day kit and then quitting. You know, let's say, oh, I've got a bag. Got a bug-out bag. It's in my truck. You know, good to go. You know, you can't quit there. All that's going to do is get you a 3-day reprieve on your ticket to ride to the FEMA camps, okay? So, let's be real. The government, the media, the Red Cross, everybody, all your official sources have been recommending 3-day survival kits, 3 days supplies in your home for each person. for so long. They've been promoting this for so long, that 3-day kit is now common vernacular. You can go to any Walmart or any big box store and find 3-day this and 3-day that, and emergency supply, 3 days, a 3-day cooking kit, a 3-day medical bag, or whatever it is, because, that's been the thing. Of course, I want to say that there's different, and I don't have the info right in front of me, but, I believe FEMA or DHS, somebody has upped it to 2 weeks. Some have even said that in some instances, in some articles, they've mentioned 6 months, etc. But typically 3 days is what people talk about if they're not preppers. If they have any idea about preparedness, it is on a 3-day plan. I suppose that the good news would be that the more people that jump on that 3-day kit bandwagon, that's the better for the rest of us. That's 3 days that we won't have to reach out and help them. That's 3 more days that we don't have to deal with the zombies, walking the streets trying to get food and water and supplies for their family. Of course, that's not the way we want it to be for people. We want everybody to be prepared. But on the other hand, is something as simple as a winter storm, like I've talked about before, power outages that last for 3 or 4 days or 2 weeks or whatever it may be. What about a cyber attack? What about an EMP? What about a pandemic? What about an earthquake? What about these things that go long term, 2 weeks, a month, even a year? These are the numbers you need to be looking at for emergency supplies, in my opinion. My goal, and I'm not there yet, I'm way further along, than when I started, because I take baby steps, but my goal is to have about a year's worth, minimally, of things put away that can sustain me and my family and, even a couple of others. So that's what we do. Number 15, stocking up on prepper gadgets that are cute and cool, tactical, but are hardly useful and a real disaster. A lot of junk is being pitched to preppers and has been for a long time. I mean, there's a big industry behind it. These people that, sell things, gear and all, they know. They know people are going to buy into a lot of this garbage. Credit card knives, match light fire starters, keychain survival kits. Corsair Trainers even talked about on his box that he gets of goodies. I forget what it's called. The Crate Club, the little paracord clip, which he then demonstrated that didn't really do anything more than what you could do on your own with a knot. So be careful about stocking up on prepper gadgets that are not really useful when it comes to a real disaster. However, if you're going to do gadgets and things like that, pocket flashlights, multitasking tools, Leathermans, things like that. Things that, and you don't need 1,000 of them, right? But 3 or 4, whatever, one in each bag, one in the house, one in the shop, whatever. Don't get caught up with the gadgetry that is not going to do you any good. That's just a waste of time and money. Number 16, having the latest in survival gear but not knowing how to use it. This is actually more common than you think. How many of you have a closet or a storeroom or a shop or a building or whatever that represents a survivalist's dream? It's got everything in there. You walk in there and it's like, you've got your emergency radios and your compasses and your propane stoves and lanterns and tactical knives and firearms hanging everywhere and crossbows and hand tools and solar kits and food and and everything, and it's all lying there aisle collecting dust, and these people go about their daily lives. I have been guilty of this myself, because the fact is, every one of these items, every one of your items, your propane stoves, your emergency radios, your lanterns, your crossbows, your firearms, your solar kits, your food and its rotation, all these things need to be put through paces. I'm going to say 2 to 3 times a year, minimally. The more you can do it, the better. You know, again, I've been guilty of this, okay? I have gotten better at and have decided and realized that these are things, you've got to train with these things. You know, we have skills that are perishable skills. You know, if you can shoot, doesn't mean that when you put your rifles away and you come back a year later, you can shoot just as well as you did that one day, you know. So you want to not only have the survival gear, but you want to know how to use it, and you want to use it regularly. You know, you also want to make sure not only that you can use your gear and you know how to use your gear, but you want to make sure and ensure that your gear is in good working order. Blades need to be sharpened, batteries need to be changed out, skills need to be honed and refreshed, like I said. So, you know, we acquire stuff as humans. That's what we do. We acquire stuff. Sometimes simply because we want it. Don't let that happen with your prepping gear, okay? Whether you buy it new or used, don't just use it once and put it up, or even not at all and put it up. Make sure that you periodically throughout the year, you use your gear, you test your gear, you try your gear. Like I say, your stoves, your lanterns, your crossbows, your firearms, your skills that go along with that. Test all of that stuff. Similarly, excuse me. Similarly, copies of your manuals, you know, and whatever it is, any material, written material that is part of your survival cache that gives you good information that sure right now you can pull up on your smartphone or on your laptop or whatever. Have physical copies of that stuff put away that you can get to, maybe even multiple copies, because if the power goes down, if an EMP, if the computer quits working, if the computer crashes and just loses all that stuff and everything else, the world keeps moving, you know, then you've at least got to collect that stuff again. So there you go. Number 17, not knowing what you have because you do not have an inventory. Not knowing what you have because you do not have an inventory. So you're walking around, let's say you're at a gun and knife show or something, you see a great deal on tactical knives and you go, man, heck yeah, I like this one. And you can never have too many knives unless, of course, you're spending your money on your 17th knife, but you don't have the first portable lantern, you know, or you don't have radios or comms, or, you know what I mean, something else. So keep a list of what you have and what you don't have. I keep a list on my phone that is a ongoing list that I add to and subtract from regularly to sort of keep me on board as to what I may want to be looking for if I'm out. You know, because I don't try and actively go out in every instance looking for this stuff. But if I'm out and see something, you know, or I'm out and I see that it's a place where gear might be had, I'll pull up my list and go, all right, let's see what's on my list that I don't have or that I need more of or some of or whatever, you know, and go that way. So know what you have. Have an inventory of what you have so that you don't have, you know, like I say in the example I used, 17 tactical knives, you know, but you don't have the first can opener or whatever, you know. Number 18, and I think this will be the last one I'm going to cover in this video. We'll just keep doing it the way we've been doing it, volume 3 here. So number 18, blowing your budget on gear instead of food, water, and medical supplies. Now this one, I know people who have been guilty of this. Not myself, but I know people who have been guilty of this. Shopping for new gadgets and, you know, gizmos and gear and all that. It's fun. It's exciting. I love it. I know you guys love it. Who wouldn't want to buy, you know, the coolest new tactical flashlight or, you know, night vision, which I'm looking for some night vision, you know. You know, the coolest Gen 4, whatever the latest is, night vision. So, you know, you can see the bad guys way before they can see you and all this kind of stuff. But don't do that if you haven't thought about your next meal, okay? Buying survival gear is a necessary part of the prepping process, but it should not be done to the exclusion of food, water, medical supplies. Maybe an exception to the rule would be like water purification or fire making tools. And when I say exception, you know, that may be something you should buy in conjunction with food, water, and medical supplies, okay? But the bottom line is, if you don't have anything to eat and you don't have anything to drink, then none of this other gear is going to do you any good, because you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it 3 days without water. Or that's about how long you will make it, okay? You know, so if you watched the live stream again last night that we did, you know, Corsair trainers basically said, yeah, you can have all the tactical gear, but what about that next meal, you know? Often I've heard about people that have thousands of dollars invested in gear, including an arsenal of firearms and ammo and etc., but they have less than 30 days worth of food, you know? Sometimes only 3 days worth of food. Not only that, the food they have is poorly stored, poorly packaged, subject to spoilage or, you know, rat infestation or cockroaches or whatever. So when you're putting together a preparedness budget, pay close attention to the day-to-day needs, you know, that you're going to have, the stuff that's going to incur following a disaster or a disruptive event. Doesn't it make sense to take care of those needs first? I think it does. Gear will come in time. You know, don't be gear rich and food poor, okay? Because you got to eat and you got to drink, you know. And yes, gear is important. I mean, there's a never-ending list, it seems sometimes, of gear that you feel like you'd need, at the very least, would be useful, you know, in a SHTF scenario. So don't sacrifice that. Don't blow your budget, number 18, on gear instead of food, water, and medical supplies. All right, so that's all I'm going to cover today. We're just, I guess, at this rate, we're covering about 6 per episode. I do have, there's more. I mean, it's a very good list. It's a comprehensive list. I hope you guys are enjoying me sharing it with you. And we'll just do some more later. And thanks so much for being here. This has been the Real World Prepper, and we will catch you next time.